Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I will share with you a wonderful bag recipe consisting of only 3 motifs that I prepared with spaghetti paper type. It is a very simple bag, but it has important tips, and I tried to share these tips with you step by step in the video. I hope it will be useful. Let's take a closer look at our bag. I want to show you, look, this model with paper rope is really amazing. I prepared it in 2 colors like this. If you want, you can prepare it in a single color or colorful. This is a medium-sized bag. If you want, you can do this in smaller sizes or beach size. Again, the beach size will also be very nice. Look, there is a very nice detail here. Here we actually increase the depth of the bag. That's why there is an important detail here. There is also a nice detail. You can enlarge this detailed bag as much as you want, and when you enlarge it, you will still have a deep and useful bag. I really enjoyed working on it, and I can say that you can easily finish this bag in a day or even in a few hours. It is very enjoyable and it ends quickly. But as I said, it is an incredibly enjoyable model consisting of 3 motifs. Before I start describing our bag, I would like to make a small request from you. You can subscribe to our channel for free. I would be very happy if you like the video and leave your comments. Let's move on to our recipe. I used spaghetti half paper yarn to knit my bag. Look, I worked in 2 colors here. If you want, you can work colorfully or monochromatically. Here I prepared my bag by using 2 balls in total, a black ball and a cream ball. The paper yarn from spaghetti yarn is really soft. It doesn't hurt your hands at all while knitting, especially if you are someone who works with paper yarn. I definitely recommend you to try spaghetti yarn's paper yarn. By the way, I would like to share a nice discount news from spaghetti yarn, special for my subscribers. You can complete your shopping with a 10% discount with the Gulkin10 code, which you can use for purchases of 100 teraliters or more from spaghettiyarn.com. I would like to thank the Spaghetti Yarn family for this nice discount. Here, while I am describing my motif, I will use a lighter colored thread. Look, I want to show you the colors as well. I worked with black in a row in the middle, 2 rows of cream, 1 row of black, 2 rows of cream, then a row of black, and at the end we will cross our motif with single crochet with cream. It is actually very easy. The lady begged for the motif and liked it, but there are a few tips that are useful to share. Now we will prepare 3 motifs. My crochet number will be 3 millimeters while knitting. You can determine your own crochet number according to the thinness and thickness of your yarn, the density and looseness of your knitting. Here we will start with the chain like this. I'm making a lock chain like this. After the lock chain, I draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chains. After drawing 5 chains, I sink into the first chain after the lock chain and remove a loop from there. I slide the loop I removed from the other loop, and look here, I create a tiny ring with the chain, then this short remaining one. I'm going to put the thread in the middle. Now at this point, I'm going to make a 2 or 3 chain, and I'm going up, wrapping it around the head of the hook, sinking into the ring and removing a loop from here. You have 3 loops, I'm filling them. I wrap them together again. I'm creating a double handrail by knitting the 2 together. We'll accept a handrail in the first 3 chains. I'm filling it again by coming into the ring. I wrapped another double handrail again. We come inside the ring and knit another double handrail. We knit 2 or 3, 4 double handrails along with the chain. 1 chain is enough for the corner. We fill it and sink into the ring, and now we will knit 4 double handrails. 2, 3, and 4, look, 4 handrails like this. I fill a chain for the corner. I knit 4 double handrails again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I fill a chain again. I knit 4 double handrails in the ring. There will be 4 from the 4 handrail group, and again 4 from our 1 chain gap. We will have achieved the square form. Now look, the classic lady begged, and the gentleman liked it. But even when working on paper, numbers are really important, and there are small tricks. Now look, I have knitted a row in the middle belly. Now I will move on to the next color. I am drawing a chain like this in the first 1 row. 2. Dip into the 3rd chain, remove the loop, slide it from the other loop, and create a chain like this. After pulling, this chain is tightened and I stretch my loop a little bit. When I take my scissors and cut the loop right in the middle, I take out my other thread. Look, I'm definitely tightening it like this. I completed the first row of the motif like this. Look, it's a classic square motif. Now let's move on to another color. I took another color here. We start by creating a loop with a chain. Look, our first chain is a lock. We have created a loop. I wrap it around the beginning of the hook. I take my motif. You can start from any chain corner space. I will start from the corner just before the end point. We will work on one chain spaces. Look, I sink into this space. I created my loop. I wrapped it around the beginning of my hook. I am sinking into my gap of a chain. I took out a stitch. I have 3 stitches. I fill it. First I knit 2 of them together. I have 2 stitches left. I put this short rope in between because I want to knit by hiding it. I wrap it again and knit both of them together. Look, we started with a double handrail, we fill it again and we knit 4 double handrails in this gap. Let's hide the rope by putting it in between 2, 3 and 4. See 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. We fill our handrail in a 1 chain space without any chains in between. Directly in another chain we sink into the corner space and immediately knit 4 double handrails. 1, 2, 3. We knit 4 double handrails where there is a corner. We draw a chain and fill it and come to the same space and knit 4 double crochets again. At this stage, if you think I knitted too fast, you can slow down the video or vice versa. You can watch it by speeding it up. It's important to give the numbers and tips here. Everyone can knit the classic square motif. Look, now there is no in between. There is no chain. While moving to another corner, there is no chain at the moment. We are direct. And by coming to the space of 1 chain, we will knit 4 double handrails and create a corner here again. And at the other point, we have done half of the corner when we started here, and by doing the other half when we finish, we will have completed the full corner. And here, we have a little tip. Let's proceed immediately to the end of the row. We have come to the end, we are filling it, and look here, we come into the space where we first started and create the corner by immediately knitting our 4 double handrails. Now, since I knit 2 rows with the same color, there is a trick when going up here. I will show you this right away. What am I doing? After knitting 4 handrails, I do not chain. I sink directly to the top of the first railing. I remove a stitch from this point and fill in 2 stitches. This is how I get a corner space for a chain with a single crochet by passing it through 2 chains. Look, I finished it like this. Now I'm going up with 3 chains. Wrapping it around the head of my hook. Look, I'm knitting 3 double handrails by sinking into our first gap, which I created with a single crochet, and 4 together with the chain. I got the double handrail, we worked on this gap. Look, we have done half of the corner, we are filling it. Now we will sink into these wide gaps between the handrails. Look, there is no chain, by the way. We will sink into this gap between the 2 handrail groups, and now we will weave 4 clay handrails here. It consists entirely of 4 clay handrail groups. We knitted 4 double handrails at the point of our motif. We are filling up again. Look, there are no chains between them. We only have 1 chain at the corner points. I fill it and come to the gap of 1 chain and create my 4 double handrails again. Since there are 3 and 4 corners, I immediately knit a chain and 4 double handrails in the same space. 3 and 4. See? I complete my row in this way, and then when finishing, we finish the same way as we finished the first motif. But I want to complete this row and share the finish with you immediately, because we will knit a last row of single crochet. I want to share with you how I passed it. We have come to the end. Look, we will come into the space where we first started and knit 4 handrails here. It is worth mentioning that I am filling. Look, as I sink, I lengthen the first stitch a little. I knit it loosely like this without squeezing my hand at all. If you squeeze it too tightly, your hand will hurt a lot while working with paper. It is worth noting that knit it loosely and comfortably like this without squeezing your hand at all. Now look here, we have knitted 4 handrails. We said we would finish the first one. We draw a chain, we dipped into 1 or 2 third chains at the beginning, removed the loop and slid it from the other loop. After making a lock with a chain, I lengthened the loop slightly and cut my rope in the middle of this loop, and I made it a lock. Now look, after working with 2 rows of cream, there is a row of black. We will do 2 rows of cream again with the same logic. Then after making 1 row of black, we will immediately move to the frame point, that is, we will finish it with single crochet. By the way, the threads will also be easily hidden. You can cut our thread from the gaps in the handrails if there is too much pattern. We will move on to the part. I take my other color. I immediately create a loop with a chain, then I make a lock. I can start from the previous point where I finished. Let's start right here. Look, I'm sinking directly into the space of a chain. I took out a loop. Let's put a rope together. I'm knitting 1 single crochet into the space of a chain. Look, I'm knitting a single crochet into the space of a chain. We knitted single needles. Then 4 handrails welcome us here. We don't jump into any of them. We start right away from the first banister. We went straight into knitting our single needles. We made a loop. There are 2 stitches. We are filling up. We obtain our single needle by passing it through both of them. Now, look at it this way. There is no chain in the intermediate transitions of each handrail until the end of the row. We are proceeding by knitting needles like this on the top of each handrail. I want to knit quickly like this. Let's come to the corner gap of a chain. 1 chain in the space, 1 single crochet, 1 chain in the same space, 1 single crochet. As we pass to the corner, 1 single crochet, 1 chain, 1 single crochet, then the banisters welcome us again, and we proceed in this way by knitting 1 single crochet in each of them. We will frame it with single crochet like this until the end of the row. Finally, as we finish here, what are we doing here? Like the sequence where we make the cream. By knitting 1 single crochet, then inserting it into the top of this single crochet and knitting 1 single crochet without making a chain, we obtain a single chain space. Let me show you this right away. We knitted our single needle here. We need to make a chain every once in a while. When finishing, we cut our rope sufficiently in a single needle chain by inserting it into the top of the first single crochet we started without pulling the chain. In this way, we prepare our motif. This is the expression of our motif. Now I want you to look at the size of this motif. The size of our motif is 21 centimeters. 21 by 21 centimeters. We have obtained a square motif in centimeters. You can enlarge your motif as much as you want the size of your bag. It does not have to be the same color. It does not have to be 2-colored. It can be colorful. It can be a single color. You can work in any size you want. By the way, even if we use the same yarn and the same crochet number and make it in the numbers I have given, the measurements will be the same. It may be a little less, maybe a little more. This will vary depending on our knitting frequency and looseness. It is also worth mentioning this. Now we are preparing 3 such motifs as I have described to you. Now we can move on to combining them. After knitting and finishing our motifs, I ironed the reverse part of the motif with strong steam. When we iron, we get a very nice mold-like appearance. There is no distortion, softening, etc. Look, we get a very nice texture. It has a very molded and beautiful texture now. I take my first motif and fold it in half like this. Look, this will be my base. I give the shape of the bottom part of my bag by pressing it with my hand. See this base point. Now I fold the other motif in a triangular shape again. I definitely have to shape it like this with my hand. As you know, paper thread is a hard textured thread. I'm putting this on this side. Now I double my motif with the flat part facing out. It's in triangular form and I'm putting it on this side. Look, the form of our bag has been formed. This is how we will start assembling our bag. Look, we'll start from this end to the other side. Then we will combine it from the other side until this end. I will use my cream-colored yarn again to combine my motif. I still use the same crochet trick. You can assemble it in reverse if you want, straight forward if you want. You can combine it with a sewing needle if you wish. You can combine these motifs with any method you want. I want to put my bag together backwards. I open it like this. Look, its form is already quite distinct. I will start right from this corner. Look, I close the straight parts, so that they are intertwined. I take my thread from here and form the first loop with a chain because I will join it by making a single crochet. Now look, there were 2 single crochets between the motif in a 1 chain space, and there was a 1 chain space between these 2 single needles. I sink into this gap, and in the opposite piece, I sink into a gap of 1 chain between the single needles. I remove a stitch from here. Let's take a short break and knit a single needle. Then I sink into the top of the next single needle. I sink into the top of the single needle in the opposite piece. I remove the stitch from here and join it with a single needle again. Look, I knit a single needle. I prick the top of the needle in the other one. Since there are equal numbers of opposite single needles, our motif will be equal. Look like this. I will combine it with the single needle technique. I only knit single needle. Let's knit it a little bit and we'll show you how it looks. You can also iron after assembling. There is no problem with paper thread when ironing. As you know, I have been using spaghetti yarn threads for many years, paper thread. There is no problem in ironing, especially spaghetti. I can say this for the thread. Now let's see, combining this much is enough. We get an image like this to show you it was nice. Now look here, I am joining it from the reverse side. As I said, you can see this image on the straight side. If you want, you can also join it from the straight part. Now we are joining it from the reverse part here. Look, we close the 2 motifs in a straight way. We started joining from here. Let's remember what we did. This is our edge part. I will fold the motif like this. Look, this is our edge point, this side is our base. I fold it like this. You will do this very easily when you hold it in your hands. Now we started from this end, we join it up to the tip here. Look, we'll come back this way later. We're going to combine this open part here. We get a triangle like this. This joining technique will come to the end, and look, we will fold the other end in a triangle shape and join the other edge of the 2 motifs in the other part. Then at this point we will include the other 3rd motif in the work. We will combine it with the single needle technique like this. The single needles will come across from each other in this edge section when we come to a gap of 1 chain again. We will have returned to this point with a single needle by sinking neutrally. We will not do any different operations. Now let's bring these 3 motifs together. Look, we have made our motifs a hole here. At the last point, look, we have knitted our single needle by sinking into the mutual chain spaces of these motifs, pulling a chain like this and extending my loop again. Here I cut my thread enough and take it out. Now look, I will now turn my bag to the flat part. Look, we have made a very nice combination in the same direction. Our bag will be very strong with a single crochet needle. Let's quickly turn the motif to the flat part. We joined it from the reverse side, saying that these edges are straight. And then, as I said, after the knitting is finished, you can iron it with steam and feather. Now at this point, if you want, you can make a handle directly and apply a snap here, but we will close this point a little bit so that it can be a more useful bag. Let the inside go deeper. I immediately get my black color. Now here I got my black color. I immediately create a loop with a chain. After creating the loop, I remove it with a crochet hook. I have prepared the stitch. Now look, we had a corner chain space. I sink into the top of a second single needle before the first chain upwards. Then I attach the loop to the end of the crochet hook and pass it from here. I wrap it around the head of the hook. Look, we had a chain gap like this. Our motif sinks into this gap and now we create a double handrail. I'm knitting both of them together. I'm filling them both together. I'm knitting a double handrail again. I'm knitting 4 double handrails in this gap. 2, 3, and 4. I knitted 4 double handrails in the same gap. Look, we've joined the middle part. Now look at this point. After knitting the handrail, I'm making the loop a little longer right in the middle part. I'm cutting it, I'm going to leave it like this. Then after a chain in the corner, I'm going to sink into the gap at the top where there is a second single crochet. And I'm going to pass this thread from front to back. Then I knit it. It's going to sink into the trabzan heel and pass it through these 2 points again. And I'm going to take the thread to the back point like this. Inside, I sink this rope into a suitable space and make a lock with the chain. Then we will hide this rope. I want us to buy our other color right away. I bought another color. In the same way we create a loop with a chain. I left the noose. Now I insert the second single needle into the top and pass the stitch through there. I got around. Now I come to the top of the first banister. I am knitting 2 lock handrails. I looped it around the top of the same handrail, the second double handrail. Here we make the increase. I will knit 1 for the ones in the middle. I'm going to knit another one for the 4th handrail, 2 for the handrail. Look, 2 for the handrail here. I'm knitting. I increased the number of handrails at the beginning and at the end. See, then I stretched my loop, cut it enough and removed my rope. Look again, I sink into the second one and take my rope from front to back. And then I pass this rope over the top of the last banister I knitted where the last handrail is. Then I take the back part and look, I sink into a suitable space behind the banister. Take this rope and make a loop. I fill it and lock this point with a chain. Then we will hide these ropes. Now switch to black again and see how much you want to cover it. That is, how deep you want your bag to be. I made increases at the beginning and at the end. Of course, after knitting this last part, I will iron it with a steam iron. Now this is the logic. By making 2 at the beginning and 2 at the end, we are completing this gap by increasing it. So no matter how much you want to cover this area, it can be knitted completely like this. It'll be such a beautiful view. I'm planning to knit a few more rows here. I will share with you how many rows I knitted again. The only action I do is increase at the beginning and end. You will need to knit the middle handrails one at a time. We will continue like this. Black, and cream. We will turn the other side. We will close the gap here by making the same start here as we knitted on this side. Then we will continue another process together. Now look, I knitted the other part here in the same way. I knitted 3 rows. You can increase this number. If your motif is larger, 3 rows may not be enough for you. It is also worth mentioning this. Now here I increased it at the beginning and at the end. If you are going to knit 1 more row and finish it, I think there will be no need to increase the edges. You can knit 1 row for each row, and you will understand this when you have it in your hand. You can also finish the last row by knitting 1 at a time. Now I want to increase it at the beginning and the end, and I knitted a handrail for each of the ones in between and in the middle. Now I'll end it here. See, I started with 4 here. It became 6 and 8. Here I knitted 8 handrails. Now I will make the connection. While making the connection, we are sinking into a second single needle. Look. After the point we are looking at, I am inserting a second single needle. After knitting the last handrail, I make a shift here. After shifting, I slightly stretch the stitch. The next one is inserted into the top of another single needle. Now look at my black thread. I did not break it off while knitting the second piece. I will pass a single needle here. We will frame it with a row of single needles like this. I'm going to be a little tight-lipped here. In fact, I may even hold it a little tighter than the setting I knitted like this so that I can tidy up the mouth of the bag a little. Look, now we finished with the banister for everyone coming here. I will knit single crochet at each incoming single crochet point and continue. When we come to this 1 chain space in the corner, I will knit 1 single crochet again. Again, I will knit 1 single crochet at the tops of the other single crochets, knit 1 single crochet on each of the handrails here, and continue knitting single crochets from here. I will finish here by knitting single needles on the tops of the last railing I knitted. Then we will move on to knitting the handle part. Look here, I completed my bag. I also knitted the single crochet point from my stem. I would like to quickly describe to you how I knit this. At the beginning, we leave a little bit of string to mount our handle to sew our bag. I'll leave it a little short. Here we start drawing a chain right away. After making a lock chain here, we draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chains. After drawing 7 chains, we fill the chain around the head. Look, we will use the reverse part of our chain, not the straight part. We wrapped it around the head of the chain. We will immediately use these dashed lines at the beginning. We leave 3 chains and sink into the back cut line of the 4th chain. We remove the stitch, we knit a double handrail, we wrap it around again, we sink into the back cut line of another chain and knit a double handrail. You don't have to press the cut line, you can see it by sinking into the normal line. I prefer to knit like this. Again, I will tell you about the size of the handle. Look at our bag now. We have knitted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double handrails with the chain. Now at this point, we pull 1, 2, 3 chains and turn the knitting music, wrapping the tack around its head. Look, we are sinking into the wide gap between the first handrail and these 2 handrails. In other words, we sink into the wide gap in the first gap, remove the loop and knit a double handrail. We are filling up. We sink into the wide gap between the other handrails and weave a double handrail. We will work on our handrails by sinking into these gaps. Look, we are sinking into wide gaps. We sink into the wide gaps between the handrails, and finally we sink into the gap between the chain and the handrail and obtain 5 handrails together with the chain at the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull 1, 2, 3 chains again. We turn our knitting and continue knitting double handrails by sinking into the first wide gap that comes to mind. In this way, we will have knitted our handle by sinking into the wide gaps between the handrails in each row. If you know different handle knitting, you can do them too. Again, look at the gap between the chain and the trabzan. In this way, we will have lengthened our handle by just inches here. I will give you the measurement. Look at it this way. Again, 3 centimeters. Length also 33 centimeters, 33.5 centimeters. This is how tall he is. You can work as long as you want. Look now. After finishing my last bag, I ironed it from the inside with a steam iron. It is also very clean inside. Here I want to tell you the size of my bag right away. If I were to tell you the height from the longest part, look, let's hold this plate. Let's measure it 30 centimeters wide from this point. Let's measure it like this for 28 hours. I have also ironed the handle that I have prepared for our handle. Look, iron it. Nothing happens. It is quite neat, beautiful, even a little harder. While finishing with the ropes I left short on the inside, we pull a chain and leave our rope long at the beginning and at the end. Look, we have a long rope. With these ropes we will mount this handle to the bag. I want to assemble it from the inside. Look, I will fasten it from here. At this stage, if you want, you can sew the lining completely up to this point. You can sew a zipper, you can use snap fasteners in this part, or you can use different live accessories. It is completely up to your taste. In fact, instead of knitting this handle, it is made of leather again. You can use it on stems. We have completed our bag by sewing our handle. I wish good luck to those who will make this recipe in our recipe. Do not forget to like our video, leave a comment and subscribe to our channel. Goodbye until we see you in the next video.